The morning was soft and still, the kind of calm that settles gently before the day begins. I stepped onto my porch with a warm cup of coffee, expecting nothing more than quiet. But the peace shifted when a black SUV crept down the street and stopped at the end of my driveway. Three men climbed out, dressed in uneven, poorly fitted uniforms that didn't match each other or any real department. Their badges lacked shine, their belts hung loosely, and every movement they made looked like a scene rehearsed without confidence. They approached with shaky voices, claiming I was under arrest for violating imaginary HOA enforcement codes. Their words floated in the air, fragile and uncertain, as if even they weren't convinced by what they were saying. I walked down the steps with calm, letting the steam of my coffee drift into the cool morning air. I asked them which department they belonged to. They exchanged nervous glances before one muttered a name that didn't exist anywhere in law enforcement. Their boots shifted on the pavement, their hands twitched at their sides, and their eyes, full of worry, gave away the truth. They weren't officers, they were pretending, they were playing a role someone else had pushed them into. When one of them stepped too close and reached for my arm, I raised my sleeve slowly. The real badge, the badge of the chief of police, glinted in the sunlight. The air changed instantly. Their expressions collapsed into fear, their voices vanished. The reality settled over them like a heavy blanket. They had just tried to arrest the High, a ranking law enforcement officer in the city with nothing but cheap uniforms and borrowed confidence. I spoke softly but firmly, telling them exactly what impersonating an officer meant, how serious it was, how deeply they had crossed a line they never should have approached. They couldn't answer. Their heads bowed, their hands trembled, and everything they thought they controlled fell apart. Within minutes, real patrol units arrived. True officers stepped out, steady and professional, and the contrast was overwhelming. The imposters didn't resist, they didn't speak, they simply accepted the gravity of what they had done. The HOA president hurried up the street, flustered and full of excuses, trying to distance themselves from the scheme even though the truth was written all over their face. But nothing they said could soften the reality. They had tried to intimidate a homeowner with false authority. They just didn't know that homeowner was the one who trained every real officer in the city. As the imposters were taken into custody and the shadows of their actions finally settled, I stood there quietly, letting the morning calm return. That simple sunrise had turned into a moment of truth for the entire neighborhood. And by the end of the day, everyone understood one thing clearly. No one sends fake officers to threaten the chief of police and walks away unchanged.